Across all of time, one question remains. Who is the best faction in Tabstopia? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, one and all, to the Faction War, a round-robin tournament seeing all of these 7-unit factions pitted up against each other to see which one takes it on top. Now, this won't be 7 versus 7. The prices will be equalized through their units, and you'll see what that means later. But let's introduce all of our competitors first. Starting off with the tribal faction led by the Mammoth. We've got the Chieftain, Bone Mage, Spear Thrower, Stoner, Clubber, and Protector. Next off, the Farmer faction led by our T-posing Scarecrow, Wheelbarrow, Potion Seller, Harvester, Hay Baler, Halfling, and the Farmer. The medieval faction being led by their king, being supported by healers, Catapult, Archer, Knight, Squire, and the Bard. The ancient faction led by their gods, Minotaur, Ballista, Snake Archer, Hoplite, Sarissa, and Shieldbearer. The Viking faction, led by their Jarl, Ice Archer, Valkyrie, Longship, Berserker, Headbutter, and Brawler. The Dynasty faction, led by the Monkey King, Quacha, Dragon, Firework Archer, Ninja, Samurai, and the Monk. The Renaissance faction with Da Vinci in his tank in the back, Jouster, the Balloon Archer, Musketeer, Halberd, Painter, and the Fencer. The Pirate faction led by their queen, a Captain, the Harpooner, Flintlock, Bomb Thrower, Blunderbuss, and a Cannon. The Spooky faction led by the Reaper, Pumpkin Catapult, Swordcaster, Candlehead, Vampire, Skeleton Archer, and Skeleton Warrior. The Wild West faction led by Quick Draw, Deadeye in the back with a lasso beside her, the Gunslinger, the Miner, not the young kind, the profession kind, a Cactus, and the Dynamite Thrower. The Light faction led by the Chronomancer, Sacred Elephant, Divine Arbiter, what is your name again? Radiant Glaive, Righteous Paladin, Devout Gauntlet, and Celestial Aegis. And finally, the Dark faction, led by the Void Monarch, Tempest Lich, the Deathbringer, the Shadow Walker, Void Cultist, Mad Mechanic, and the Exiled Sentinel. Now, how about we get to our first match? And so we can get into our first match with the Tribal faction versus the Dark faction. The numbers are equalized, and now let's go over this a bit more in depth. The first unit in both factions are the Shadow Walker and the Clubber. So we have 7 Shadow Walkers and 20 Clubbers. We have 4 Exiled Sentinels matched up against 15 Protectors. So each individual unit has its price equalized in it, which does lead to some unfortunate circumstances like 5 Stoners versus 1 Void Cultist. He wouldn't be winning that 1v1 most often. 4 Chieftains versus 1 Deathbringer is interesting. The Tempest Liches are going to be doing a lot of work, but unfortunately the Tribal Fate has been sealed with 11 Void Monarchs on the dark side. Wish they had something better than Snuffy. So all the Shadow Walkers are gonna jump into the back. Now this is gonna be quite the long tournament, yeah. Every single small unit just got Tempest. It's gonna be up to the Spear Throwers of all things to take down the Void Monarchs. 1's already transformed. 2, 3, 4. They're so done. Honestly, the 11 Void Monarchs could have absolutely soloed this on their own. And we will only be doing 1 match every single time. Who's left? We still have, what, like 6, 7 more Mammoths? but I don't think a single Void Monarch has died. Not even the Void Cultist has died yet. They got one. They got one Void Monarch, but as we can tell, this was a very one-sided match. Let's move on to our next one. Next up is the Farmer faction versus the Light faction. Now, it's really unfortunate because we have so many Righteous Paladins. I believe there's 17 of them. And then they got matched up against 40 Potion Sellers, which are obviously going to do us a lot of work. You have 40 of any unit, and it's going to do a lot of work. The Farmer faction's best unit, their highest ranking unit, the Harvester, has been shafted as it's matched up against the Divine Arbiter, who has a 2-to-1 price ratio. The same thing kind of goes for the Sacred Elephant. The Sacred Elephant's not going to get to do much because there's only one of him. 5 Scarecrows versus 2 Chronomancers in the back of them is always going to be an interesting matchup. And, well, we'll see if the Devout Gauntlet can punch down. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, Devout Gauntlet is already dead. The Wheelbarrow's running, getting absolutely hammered by the hammers. So a lot of birds. That should be 30 birds coming in. The Righteous Paladins are just running through. They're tanky enough to survive. We got one Chronomancer transformed. The other one is at only half health though. And it's transformed as well. The Paladins have made their way to the back line against the Scarecrows. It's not looking good for the Farmer faction. And they are out. For the round. It's a round robin. Now on to our laggiest match of today, probably. The Medieval faction versus the Wild West faction. I don't think anything is gonna matter except for, well, we have 74 Knights and 65 Lassos. I always dunk on the Knights, but there's 74 of them. Like, what, 18 Gunslingers is gonna do some work, but they might not be in the best position. They got matched up against the Healer. Worth 180 against their 650, which is really unfortunate that we couldn't get the Gunslinger against the Knight, because they both have 650. Ready for Tab Slideshow Edition in 3, 2, 1. Yup. It looks like all the healers have chosen to heal one king, so we'll see if they can actually keep him alive. The catapults are gonna rain down fire upon these horses on the lassos, and the gunslingers are gonna do the same upon the knights. Do you think the gunslinger is a bit more is a bit better for this type of thing? Maybe we can go into a bit of slow motion here. I don't even think most of the Deadeyes in the quick draws are gonna see action. Deadeyes might, because they have a real long range. Are all the cactuses dead? No, they're not. Ooh, like, all the lassos actually lived. Their horses didn't, but the people on the backs did. Another catapult volley coming down. Looks like we have lost, what, 2, maybe, yeah, 3 catapults already, which isn't good. We haven't lost any Deadeye. Any gunslingers? Yeah, we have lost a few gunslingers. 6 gunslingers. Well, if this king doesn't get one shot, actually they're now splitting it between 2 kings. If these kings don't get one shot, they do stand a good chance. They are the high. No, the archer is the highest ranked unit on the field. The healer pack is moving forward. The cactus are down. That means the archers can start raining down fire upon them, upon the Western faction. Gunslingers raining down. That one king is dead. They need to heal this one up real fast, and they didn't. See, what's the point of healers? There were 65 of them, and they can't keep a king alive against 10 dead. Did the healers tank? Were there enough healers to tank Deadeye shots, though? Deadeyes are dropping, but the archers are dropping faster. Hello, Annie Wolf. That's right, this is all streamed on Twitch, by the way. So with the Western faction taking it, let's move on to our next match. And our next match in the faction war is going to be the Ancient faction versus the Spooky faction. Now, one question always remains: how much work are these ballistas gonna put in? The best unit on the field, and I mean, the Ancient faction has a lot of them. They'll one-shot anything on the field, including their own team. Minotaurs are already down. Reapers down. Pumpkin Catapult down. A few of the Reapers are down. Not all of them. Zeuses are all bunched up. Miss with the catapults. Now it's not fair. One shot, two shot, yep, all of those shots. Every single one of them kills something. Also, this is so fair. 39v40, even money. That's actually really impressive. I mean, there go all the cannon fodder. There goes one Zeus. Two Zeus. One was shot by a ballista, the other one was shot by pumpkin catapults. Minotaurs are down. One Reaper down, there's 4 of them. All Reapers down. Now it's just one Swordcaster and one Pumpkin Catapult remaining. This is definitely going to be a big factor later on. But that is going to be a 2-0 dub for the Ancient faction. Next up is going to be the Viking faction versus the Pirate faction. About our Flintlock, then we have a 1v1 between the Ice Archer and the Blunderbuss. I think the biggest thing is gonna be this group of 22 bomb throwers matched up against 25 brawlers. Aside from that, 3 longships is not nothing. I mean, those ores do a massively, surprisingly high amount of damage. 5 girls in the back as well. I don't think 5 girls can defeat 2 captains and 3 pirate queens, but it should help out. So 3, 2, 1, go. You got the Berserkers jumping in, you got the bombs going out first time. You got the Valkyries gonna jump in, Harpooners dragging them in. That's not the best strategy you want to employ. Bombs going out on these brawlers. Longships being used. Pirate Queen spinning. Like, dude, look at that. That ore just hit the Pirate Queen and did like a quarter of her HP. They do double the damage of a Jarl Axe. So much. What? That one body just dove under the ground. But now this one Ice Archer is so done. Yup. Close match. Round 2. The Berserkers have already made it into the pile of bomb throwers. The Valkyrie's inside as well. The cannon's still up. The cannon is still up. One harpoon connected to the longship and it just collapsed. It just demolished. It self-deleted itself. This is going so well for pirates this time. I mean, their queens are dead. Yep, there goes the last queen. So it's just this one last Jarl against, well, everyone. He might be able to pull it off, and Rage is a funny thing. He did not pull it off. If he had another Enrage activation, he almost certainly could have done that, but that means Pirates are going to take this 2-0 dub. Oh, I might have. Hold on a minute. And then our last matchup in round one is going to be Dynasty versus the Renaissance faction. Now, we have some very important things. We got two Watches in the back, and Watches can one-shot everything here on the field, or potentially a whole lot more. I mean, if the two of them focus their fire on the Da Vinci tank in the back, that Da Vinci tank is for sure done. Monkey Kings are a bit of a coin flip for if they're going to be great or bad. And then, dragons are the be all end all of campaign levels, so they should do fairly well here if they aren't sniped instantly. Or killed by their own watches. Ran over by the jousters? Nope, that didn't work, so now the dragons just get to march unimpeded. Except for their own team. And the Da Vinci tank. Never mind. Yeah, the Da Vinci tank's already dead. This was a slaughter. Still have like half their units alive. Then we don't need to do a second round of that. The Dynasty faction is gonna take that dub. Starting up in round two, we have the Pirate faction versus the Dynasty faction. And in a complete opposite of last time, the Pirate faction was on board. We only have one bomb thrower because it's matched up against the monk. I mean, that's a 1-for-1. We do have one Dragonster, which can definitely do work if it isn't killed by the one cannon for the 1v1. Captain does not win that 1v1 against the Watcha. And then we have 5 Monkey King versus 4 Pirate Queen in the back. Let's get it done. Arrows are going to rain down. The blunderbusses are going to be fully fine. The dragon is dead. The dragon's already down. So it's going to be on the Watcher to try and rain down pain on the rest of the Pirate faction. And to hopefully not murder all of its Monkey Kings. Monkey King putting in work against the Pirate Queen, though. Even jumping up after her. We may have one dead. I don't know. It's still so hard to tell which ones are the real Monkey Kings and which ones aren't. We definitely have a bunch of Monkey Kings dead, because, I mean, I think we only have one left, and it's this one. And he just got kicked. Okay, Firework Archers and the Hwacha. What a dodge from the Firework Archer. Oh, we still have a Monkey King in the back. Okay, that's a win for them. Let me make sure that the Monkey King doesn't get stuck this time. 1 win to the Dynasty faction. Dragon. I think your team would greatly appreciate it if you weren't stuck like that. Or you get murdered by the Hwacha. Let me slightly off-center this dragon. Actually, if I do that, I have to slightly off-center the cannon as well. That's the whole thing. Is that the cannon's supposed to 1v1 the dragon, or try to. So now they're in line again. So if the cannon just shoots straight, it would kill the dragon. They're bringing the dragon closer. That was like one of the worst things I think I've ever seen. One of the worst misplays I think I've ever seen. God, pirates need bigger brains than that. I think the harpooner that did it lived as well. This one right here. Pirate Queen down. And it's gonna be this again. The Hwacha is gonna mow down the Pirate Queen. There you go. And that's a Dynasty win. Second one. Next up, the Renaissance versus Dark Faction. It's Tempest Lich and Void Monarch versus Musketeer and the Vigi Tank. Let's be real here. The Jousters might do something, but overall, it's not gonna be the same. Tempest Lich needs to put in some serious crowd control work. Mad Mechanic could as well, I suppose, but there's only, what, 2 of them? I think they're both dead. Void Monarchs are getting in there now, already killed, like, all the Musketeers. One of them is transformed already. One Da Vinci tank down. They haven't even all transformed. They teleported into the tank. That's not fair. Dark wins. Don't you love it when numbers almost perfectly work out? 15,000 on both sides. Almost the same number. 38 versus 39. Spooky versus Viking faction. Reapers are gonna put in some work here. There's 3 of them. And the only unit on the Viking team that survives the tentacle, the Reaper wings, is the Jarl. I mean, with the addition of candleheads and everything. They just got a scythe wave apart, these guys. Oh my god, the ice just murdered them all. What an ice arena. And I think it's just ice archers now. There you go. Spooky wins game 1. How about game 2? That's a bit of an issue. Whoops. The Berserkers get caught up on the Ice Archers, and that means, like, both of those unit types don't matter. Stick it. He did not stick it, not even slightly. We almost had a Grim Reaper chain reaction. Now it's just these 2 Jarls versus the rest of the Spooky faction, aka all these Skeleton Archers. Okay, well the Pumpkin Cat will kill them. That's gonna be a Spooky 2-0 dub. How did this end up being almost even numbers at 85 versus 88? Huh? Well, anyway, there isn't much more to talk about other than the 45 Lasso versus 37 Ballista matchup, with the addition of 16 Deadeye on the Wild West side. Wild West versus Ancient, let's go. And I was actually sitting here thinking, like, oh, the Gunslingers might matter. There's like 6 of them. they're throwing the ballistas themselves at them. Now, if everything is gone, Ballista wins the 1v1 against Deadeye. And there's way more than 16 Ballista. Oh, they're dodging. The quick draws are dodging the Ballista bolts. Somehow. Quick Draw is being such a good tank for the Deadeye. They got this. Yeah. Game 2. Because if the Quick Draw don't do all that dodging and stuff, then, I mean... Or even, like, desync their dodging. We only lost like 7 Ballista. Oh, one of the lassos actually just got through. There's so many. The Wild West faction has such a good matchup against the Ballista. Deadeye can one-shot it if like something tanks it. AKA the Cactus, who's completely immune. Lasso is fast, is 2 units, and is ranged. Then the quick draw dodges. Yeah. This is done. Wild West takes that 2-0 dub. I don't even know what to say to this matchup. We got 40 healers in the back. Maybe I should move them up a bit. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I didn't know how far back I was going to go with the medieval faction placement. So anyway, 20 knights is a lot of knights. I mean, they do have to go against 13 Divine Arbiters, which is not easy. Radiant Glaze is going to tear through, like, the Archer line if they get to it. One Celestial Aegis does not matter in the slightest. Catapults could do work. I mean, they have a really hard hill to climb. It's like 3v1. If there's anyone that can climb a hill like this, it would probably be the Light faction. Oh, some of the Divine Arbiters are being taken out by the, catapult shots. As long as they don't one-shot the king here. Yeah, as long as they don't one-shot the king, 40 healers should be enough to keep him alive. Now, if only they could overheal. None of the Divine Arbiters died in the first catapult shot. That's good. How about the second one? Oh, a few Divine Arbiters have died. They just nuked their own Righteous Paladins. Chronomancer transformed. Well, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful healer ball. Where are you going? What's over here? Where were you going? Oh wait, that's gonna be a 2-0 medieval win. We have, Try versus shit. Alright, I mean, that's a lot of crows they have to deal with, and they'll one-shot everything. That's not the Mammoth. The Harvesters are gonna tear through, like, the melee units. So there's a bunch of Stoners there, but I don't think they're gonna do that much. How much can the Scarecrow do? Still has it. We're following this one. We're following this one into battle. Come on, Mammoth. Oh my god, so many crows, it's lagging. No, no, don't die. No, don't Everything has been crushed underneath these mammoths. This is called the simulation map, rep. No! You glorious, just a creature. This is the one I usually use. What happened? Yeah, Farmer Faction 1. Okay, game 2. Yeah, this is the map I usually use to run tournaments. Anyway, that's Rep in a box. She's another streamer. I have her as a unit. All that mammoth meat just barreling down on you. These scarecrows should be, for the most part, safe. Because they can't actually get, like, stomped, because they hover above the ground where the shockwave happens. So the mammoth has to swing around the tusks and everything to deal damage to the unit. Or flatten them like that. And the Tribal Faction wins game 2. How about game 3? No wacky spawns like that mammoth. Everything just goes flying. And I mean, the crows already fly, so... You know, Armister also probably has a favorable matchup against Mammoth, but not in a 6v3. And that's a Farmer Faction dub. We're gonna get into round 3 here today before ending things, unless someone else drops by. So we're gonna go ahead and be an Ancient versus the Light. But yeah, Divine Arbiters, Radiant Glades, you know, the usual thing. Oh, they've nuked the Sacred Elephants. And that one got Ballista. So, I don't actually think there's any unit... Actually, no. Technically, the Celestial Aegis survives a Ballista shot. And also, technically, the Sacred Elephant survives a Ballista shot by being 2 units in 1. But... aside from those two, nothing here survives a Ballista Bolt. So if they can just reload and take out everything... That's 2 Ballista down, 3 Ballista. And there go the rest of the Divine Arbiters, though. Oh my god! Oh wait, that's a thing? I mean, that Ballista might live on Divine Arbiter shot now! Bro, what a Ballista. They actually might be having issues aiming because of that Ballista. It's gonna be a 2-1 Ancient that's gonna be a 2-0 Ancient victory. Medieval versus Tribal, and Atlas literally just comes down to the 22 Kings versus 15 Mammoths, because everything else is going to be smashed underneath of them. But the Mammoths are going to demolish their own team, unfortunately. Maybe a few Spear Throwers live, but it would actually be better if the Spear Throwers didn't live. Because if they did live, then, you know... Oh my god, they just steamrolled the Mammoths. They just steamrolled them. I'm not even gonna do a second match. That one was too fast. Dark Faction versus Farmer Faction. I mean, dude, just the amount of potion sellers. Yeah, one Shadow Walker was gonna do lots against the 40 potion sellers we have. They also only have one Tempest Lich. But they do have 17 Void Cultists, and the Deathbringer's in, and the Void Monarchs are in. This is a disaster for the farmer team. Potion Cell is just not good enough. Their best unit was locked in a 2v1. So that will be a very convincing 2-0 Dark Faction victory. Next up, Viking versus the Wild West. 98 versus Het and 69. Nice. Anyway, 5 Gunslingers is gonna do a lot of work. Of course, we have all of the lassos in the back. Just everything that the lassos are standing for. The Gunslingers really need to heal out, though. Also, I think only the Jarl survives a shot from Deadeye. What's happening here in the middle, we have like this huge ball of like Valkyrie and lasso horses. It's just a huge Viking ball in general. You still have the major problems of the gunslinger of the Jarls coming in. Their enrage has run out. Vikings are done. That's a convincing victory. Next up, Dynasty versus Spooky. Again, one dragon could do a whole lot of work, and so could one pumpkin catapult if they both get going. Watches obviously are going to be like our anti-Reaper machine. Swordcasters are doing some work, but it's not gonna be enough. Dragon is down, but I mean, the Spooky faction has no cannon fire protecting their Reapers. I didn't get it yet. One of the Reapers is stuck. Hold. Dude, there's the Swordcaster and that Reaper got stuck. That's unfair. I'll fix that for the game too. Because the Watcha wins. Put it like there, and then like boom, boom, and boom, boom. Because a skeleton archer has like a longer range than the catapult does, or it's further back than the catapult, and it still has enough range to fight. Dragon's still up. The Monkey Kings are in. Pumpkin Catapult accidentally nuking one of its Reapers. Pumpkin Catapult down. It's not good. Okay, those 2 Reapers are done. He's so done. He's absolutely cooked. It's Jover. And then the last match for this round is going to be the Renaissance faction versus the Pirate faction. We only have 4 bomb throwers, so they aren't going to get to do a whole lot. But then again, the Renaissance faction doesn't really have a lot of cannon fodder for the bomb throwers to work against. What it does have is a 5v8 matchup against the Pirate Queen with the Da Vinci tank. And that's what this all comes down to. How fast can these Da Vinci tanks mow down the Pirate Queen? 8 of them. Or will the Pirate Queen just kind of slap them all apart? It's not looking good. Only one Pirate Queen remains, and only one Da Vinci tank went down. Four of the 5 Da Vinci tanks are still up. I think that's a... they're even 2,500 down. Wait, where did that come from? Is that... Was it this? Yeah, it was a 4v9 matchup against the Pirate Queen instead. They would have done even better. That is round 3. Now let's go over our standings. Making dinner. All right, rep. So after 3 rounds of this faction war, we've got Viking and Tribal both fully defeated at 0-3. Spooky, Pirate, Farmer, Light, and Renaissance all at a 1-2. Medieval and Ancient at 2-1, and then Dynasty, Wild West, and Dark at 3-0. Be able to do that. We are back in the faction war. Round 4 out of 11 here. We start off with the Light versus the Vikings. 82 versus 36 is quite a lot. Chronomancer is going to have to do a lot of work alongside the Radiant Glaives, as those are the only two that have splash damage. And the Shockwave Hammer does not do nearly enough damage for that to matter. Ice Archers are not going to matter in this fight. Longships might end up dying, but anyway, let's just get into it. It is very laggy this time, holy crap. And we got the Berserkers jumping in, the Valkyries coming in. Divine Arbiter isn't going to do much because it was matched up against the Valkyrie. And so that's going to be, a 2v1. The same goes for the Sacred Elephant and... actually, the same goes for Sacred Elephant versus Longship and Chronomancer versus Jarl. All of these big units are in a 2v1 scenario here on the light side. Chronomancer has transformed, both Longships have been used up. The Elephant Rider has been separated from the Elephant. Now it just kind of comes down to these Jarls and how much work they can do. And it's not enough. It is not enough work. Yeah, boom. And then the Radiant Glaives coming through as well. That's going to be a very convincing light side victory. Then next up is going to be Spooky versus Renaissance, and it's just Reapers versus Da Vinci tanks. Jouster and Musketeer might do work. Vampires are good, but there's only 5 of them. Pumpkin Catapults could also cause some chaos. Pumpkin's going down, ruining the front line. Probably going to take out the Balloon Archer as well. Taking out 2 of the Musketeers. Now the Reapers get to move in as a pack. 1 Pumpkin Catapult is still up. Looks like all 4 of the 5 Skeleton Archers are up. Are they going to be able to Scythe Wave apart these tanks? Swordcaster is still up as well. Swordcaster took down 1. They gotta burn through these tanks' HP. Reapers should totally be able to just pluck Da Vinci out of the tank. Actually. Only 1 tank remains. I don't think it can actually hit the Swordcaster. Oh, it can. It's just really hard for it to do so. That's gonna be a really close Spooky win. So we're gonna have to run a second match of that. Vampires going in, Pumpkin Catapults. Down goes the Balloon Archer. 1 Musketeer is down. These Musketeers are not placed very well. I apologize. Is the Swordcaster down? The Swordcaster appears to be down. Did he get shot? 1 of the muskets? All 5 Skeleton Archers are up, which is some DPS. Ah, dude, the Reaper chain reaction here. It looks like it's probably going to be a Renaissance victory in game 2. Or not, or it's gonna be another it's gonna be another spooky victory. So they will move, they will get another dub. Now we move on to the Wild West versus the Dynasty, and this just comes down to our 50 Lasso versus 37 Dragons Go. They're gonna run it. This is why I don't like. This is actually the biggest reason why I make all of my units like rounded prices. So I don't have things like Lasso's 740 happening. Cause there's just no way to get like less than 50 Lasso on the field. Or like I don't even yeah. It is just these. Like, the 5 Deadeyes might do a bit of work, especially against the Monkey King, which they actually have a better matchup against instead of the Quick Draw. Gunslingers aren't gonna do much anymore as the front line's down, and the front line is now just Dragon. Hello, Reaper. My PC, my game, my frames. Give them back. Give them back, Lasso. He just reeled in my frames and took them away from me. I don't even think the Deadeyes are doing that much here. Well, it kind of feels like they're missing. Also, the Samurai would have had a super easy time getting back there if they were still alive right now. But now there's just way too many bodies for Deadeye to deal with. Yeah, sure thing. After this round is done, catch up. We will check out your stuff. Also, I'm gonna soon start okay, well, obviously Dynasty wins. Next up is going to be the Pirates versus the Dark Faction. Now, this is absolutely just coming down to one. I mean, the Tempest Lich can definitely do some work against these groups. Shadow Walker might kill the cannon. I actually let him do that this time. If he actually succeeds, that will be good. Deathbringers get matched up against the Captains, and Pirate Queen versus the Void Monarch. And I think it just comes down to Pirate Queen versus the Void Monarchs. And the Shadow Cannon is big, and the Shadow Walker just decided it wasn't worth it. Tempest Lich is also stealing my frames completely. I was like, look at how good it is when the Tempest Lich staff is not on the field, and look at how bad it is when the Tempest Lich attack is on the field. Pirates got this, man. There's no way the Void Monarchs actually get through all of these Pirate Queens. Especially since only 2 of them managed to transform. And like they have like decent amounts of health left. Like a little gnat flying around me right now. So that is going to be a pirate victory. Next up is going to be Tribal versus Ancient. And this just comes down to Mammoths versus, well, whatever the Ancient faction is going to bring. They only have 1 Ballista, which is not good for them. For one, their best, I mean, just straight up, their best unit, there's only 1 of them. And 2, the actual best unit in the game currently, according to the rankings, is there's only 1 of them. So it's kind of got to be, like, pulled, like, and buy enough time. If, like, all 11 Zeus focus down 1 Mammoth, they can definitely kill 1. Like, Ballista 3-shots them pretty much. It's looking pretty good for the Ancient faction. None of the Spear Throwers are alive to cause any troubles. That was a close one. If that Mammoth killed that Zeus, I think the Mammoth could have gone and killed the Ballista. It's like, I'm just gonna go out and say it. I'm pretty sure 1 Ballista still, like, out-damages 11 Zeuses. Yeah, though those Zeuses did live for quite a while, so I'm gonna give it to Ancient Faction. Then last in round 4 here is going to be Farmer versus Medieval. So, yeah, Harvesters, Scarecrows, they're gonna do a lot because there's so many of them. Scarecrows are gonna be on anti-king duty, while Harvesters are like the tanky ones. They're also gonna take down all these Knights because I'm gonna be real, Knight sucks. So now, the healers, that's... I'm sorry, Medieval Faction, I continue to do this to you. I don't put your healers, like, up with the king because I have no clue where I'm actually gonna put the king. Scarecrows with big DPS, yeah. I mean, it's not even like the healers were actually up here. Yeah, that's absolutely gonna be a form of dub game 1. But now, let me change this so that these guys are, like, actually with the kings. Because they were, like, back here. Farmers took that game. They still took that game, so we're moving on into match 2. Good shot, Catapult. Good shot, man. You took out half of your own king's HP. What a Catapult. Oh, and what a king back there too. Oh my god. This is a tactical disaster for the Medieval Faction. They did even worse this time. 500 damage per crow, that's actually not as much as I was expecting. Yeah, obviously, Farmer Faction wins. Continuing on with the Faction War into round 5, we start off with Renaissance versus Wild West. Halberds against the Lassos. I mean, the Jousters are probably a better matchup for that. Gunslingers raining down the pain on the Halberds as well. Now we just have a pretty much a range fight. I think the Musketeers might have killed one of their Da Vinci tanks. Or maybe they did actually just like mow through the tanks that fast. Like now it's a range fight, yeah. The Renaissance doesn't stand a chance there. Quick draw dodge is too much. Next up is going to be Ancient versus the Farmer Faction. We do have 5 ballistas here, but there's way too many units for that to truly matter. Wheelbarrows are gonna get in. Zeus has to do a lot of work. Scarecrows as well. I mean, you know, they have like 17 potion sellers against the 15 snake archers, which is probably the main matchup here that we're looking at, just due to the numbers. It is looking like the snake archers are definitely getting that, with a little bit of help from Zeus. 1 ballista is still, 2 ballistas still up. The Ancient Faction takes it down first game. Game 2. Have to get rid of these wheelbarrows, because they can definitely run through the Ancient backline. Like right now. One, two, 3 ballista down. This is essentially a 4th ballista down. So they pretty much only have 1 ballista up, and then it's just snake archers versus potion sellers again. And then the scarecrows. And they don't get it done. Ancient's gonna take that 2-0 dub. I don't even know why I bother running one like this. A Viking versus tribal. Yeah. If the Bone Mages can kill, like, all these Berserkers and Valkyries, it didn't even matter. They, like, were they freaking immune during the jump? Because they jumped right onto the spikes. They should have died from that. But, yeah, it's just Jarls versus Mammoths. Everything has been crushed underneath the weight of these 2 boss units. And from these 2, Mammoth does not win. The Vikings have already won this matchup. Yeah, just I don't even think a single Jarl died. There you go. Dynasty versus the Light. Watches are probably going to do the most here. Dragon could also do quite a bit. One Divine Arbiter is not going to be enough to save them from, like, the big units. Elephants are down from the Watches. Need to hurry up and get back here to these Watches. Oh, the Dragon's still alive. Yep, down go both Chronomancers. They definitely are going to need a run back here. Game 2. The Dragon is already down. That's good for them. It's good for the light side. So I refuse to call it the good. Yeah, they definitely got this one now. There they go. We move on to game 3 between these two. The Hwachas need to not murder this dragon instantly because it deals with all the paladins. Like, very well. Dragon down. Elephants are mostly down. One Chronomancer is down. That is not good for the light faction. They still have 4 Hwachas to deal with. Oh, what a volley. That's going to be a Dynasty 2-1 victory. Next up is going to be the Dark faction versus the Medieval faction. And there goes my frame rate because there's 13 Tempest Liches and one of them already drops my frame rate down to like nothing. Archers are probably going to have to do a lot of work, but I don't think they're going to be able to do enough. Oh my god, Dark faction, please. Tempest Lich, actually. Please stop doing this to me. Is there something I can do here? No. There's nothing I can do there to make this not this laggy. You just gotta deal with it. And then also just kind of wait for the Tempest Liches. Oh, there we go again. Apologies, everyone, for the viewing experience that you are having right now. Because it is, it's not good. Oh, all those healers are dying right now. Where'd my frames go? Oh, and the Voidmar is transformed. Okay, end it, end it, end it, end it, end it. Dark wins, dark wins. Then to end out round 4 or 5, we have Pirate versus Spooky, which is definitely gonna be interesting here. It's definitely a smaller match. Pumpkin Catapult going in. We, of course, have Reaper versus Pirate Queen at the end, if it can make its way through the other units. Now, Reaper does not win this 1v1. They needed to knock the Pirate Queen down like a lot of HP before getting into that fight. Yeah. Now it's just gonna be the cannon like sniping them. So that's gonna be a pirate victory. Let's see if the Spooky can do it. Can do it in game 2.
Flopper. Where's Nerd 1 at?
Updating apparently.
The cannon is down. That's good for the spooky faction. She was completely unbothered by his death, by the Reaper's death explosion. These skeleton archers are not gonna be dealing enough damage. Almost though, almost. So Pirate's gonna take a 2-0 dub to end out round 5. Welcome to round 6, where we're gonna go ahead and get things started here with the medieval faction versus the ancient faction. Now, that's all you need to see. It's whether or not all those 13 ballista can actually like start doing work. They got matched up against the knight, so the knight has a bunch of I think 18 knights, 13 versus 18. There's nothing on the field, actually nothing on either side of the field survives a single ballista shot. So these healers are kind of useless, despite, you know, for the first time actually, you know, having low numbers. The snake archers are causing them to group up, and then the ballistas are just taking advantage of that. Yeah. Yeah, that's an ancient victory, and I don't see anything I can do to change that. Next up, I think this might be our biggest match so far, although I don't know, is going to be the Wild West versus the Pirates. Yeah, we got two major matchups here. The 50 Lasso versus 37 Cannon, and then 12 Pirate Queens versus 25 Quick Draw. Having like the one dynamite thrower and one flintlock feels rude at that point. 37 cannonballs going in. All the horses have kind of formed a pile-up, meaning that they aren't going to be doing much anymore. And I don't think Quick Draw can dodge cannonballs. It's over. The Pirates have won. Yup. Next up, Light versus the Renaissance. Musketeers, I think, are going to be the main thing to beat for the Light faction. Gotta get to them fast. I mean, like, 3 Da Vinci tanks isn't nothing. Might have to move that one in front of the Musketeers. Da Vinci tank actually, though, can't not fight Chronomancer. And I mean, Divine Arbiters being there doesn't make it any easier. The splash damage of the Chronomancer, the Chronomancer dial, it's too much for them. Made it close. So let's move that one Da Vinci tank in front of these Musketeers and see if that makes a difference. They are definitely shooting through the Da Vinci tanks without actually killing them. One tank down, they're trying their best to buy a bunch of time against the dude who controls time. 2, 3 down. I don't think it was enough. Yeah, especially with the splash damage shot, splash damage Chronomancer dial. That's gonna be a 2-0 for the Light faction. Next up, Tribal versus Dynasty. 3 Dragons is gonna actually ruin the Tribal faction, though. Like, these mammoths need to make it in front of these spear throwers as soon as possible. While they're also killing the spear throwers. It's so over. And then the Monkey King's just gonna go absolutely hog wild on them as well. That wasn't even kind of close. That wasn't even beginning to be close. Next up is going to be the Farmer versus Viking faction, and I think these Berserkers are just actually gonna ruin everything. Unless the potion sellers can really quickly deal with them. No, not really quickly. I mean, they did kind of deal with them. Because if they deal with the Berserkers fast, then it naturally does become like a much better deal for the Farmer faction. If they don't, well, I mean, they lose. Because these Berserkers go wild, kill all the potion sellers. And I mean, the farmers only have one harvester on the field. They also only have one scarecrow currently. Alright. That is an old redeem helper. Hello. And to both of you, Helper and Low Gamer, how are you both doing today? Y'all is running away. That gives the Scarecrow lots of time to throw out more birds. One last enrage. If he doesn't do it with this one, I think he's done. He did it. Or he didn't. We'll have to do like this will probably have to be a game 3 moment. You're doing fine today, Helper. We are actually about 5 minutes away from ending stream, so Berserkers going in after the potion sellers. If they can kill a lot of the potion sellers, or even distract them enough for the rest of the Vikings to make it back here, they absolutely got this. Did the ships kill? The ships killed 3 of the Jarls. The long ships killed 3 Jarls, and they did so much better in Game 2 than they did in Game 3. Or in Game 1. This is Game 3. Wheelbarrow is down. Like, none of the Jarls took any damage. You have to mow down these Jarls and Berserkers. The Jarls are enraged and have made the distance. These potion sellers have to keep. No, they did not keep that one Scarecrow alive. They are very much so done. That will be a 2-1 Viking victory. And then the last match for today is going to be the Spooky faction versus the Dark faction. To see which will reign over Halloween. The Void Monarchs are in and already transformed. The Reapers are getting in, and that's a huge chain reaction. That is like the biggest chain reaction. One Reaper died, and then like everything else died in that circle. Except for the Void Monarchs, because they teleported out. That will be a Dark faction victory. As we are halfway through the tournament, let us go through our standings here. In last place with a 0-6 win-loss record is the Tribal faction. Next is the Renaissance faction with a record of 1-5. Then Medieval, Spooky, Viking, and Farmer are all tied at a 2-4 record. The Light faction is in 6th with a 3-3 record. The Wild West and Pirate factions take another tie at a record of 4 wins to 2 losses. And we have another tie between the Dark faction and the Ancient faction, both at 5-1 win-loss ratio record thing, something. And then finally, the Dynasty is still currently undefeated. So, as we move forward, it'll be interesting to see, well, if Tribal gets a win, and what'll take down the Dynasty faction. I actually don't believe they're... how is it so one-sided? Don't believe that they're actually that dominant over the other factions, but those are the stats. That should be the button, right? Yeah, it is. Alright. Round 7 of the faction war. And well, we have a new record for most amount of units on the scene here. Not only do we have our 50 versus 37 in Pumpkin Catapult versus Lasso, we also have what is it, 20? No, hold on. 13,000 worth of gunslingers versus 13,000 worth of vampires. 65 versus 13. Yep. We have and then we have 12 Reapers versus 25 Deadeye. Or I mean, Quick Draw. So we have a lot of screen. There's about 70. Pumpkin Catapults are obviously going to be huge in this, as well as the Vampires being the second best unit in the game currently on the rankings. So let's go. I'm just gonna have this play in slow motion the whole time. There's no way I get any frame rate if this is in fast motion. Gunslingers are gonna have a lot, and it's all probably gonna kill. It's all probably gonna rain down on the vampires. They're gonna be like right in that front line instead of actually on top of the vampires or on top of the Deadeye or Quick Draw. Because if the vampires can make it to those units, I mean, they have a guaranteed win against that. So all the lassos, all the spooky units have come into the middle. Definitely, you know, looks like the Wild West faction is coming out on top for now. In the middle. Why are some of these such a lighter brown? Like, that's the normal catapult brown. How are we looking over here? It's not looking great because of the huge amount of bodies. I mean, if they can rain down, like, all these pumpkins. Well, maybe not these ones, because they're dead. Like, on this flank, they can rain down pumpkins, and then rain down pumpkins onto this flank from that flank. Can actually run the match now. The bounce might work against the pumpkin catapults in this. We're only doing one round, as is normal with Wild West map rounds. There should still be a bunch of skeleton archers in the back, unless they're all dead. Some of them are up. There's like half of them there, and it does actually look like the spooky faction's got this. That pileup of bodies was just too much for the Wild West to get over. My frames are back. Next up is going to be Viking faction versus the Medieval faction, and the real question is whether or not the Medieval faction can deal with all these berserkers and these Valkyries too. It's gonna be the Knights and the King responsibility, because I mean the King wins 1v1 against y'all like every single time. So they gotta weaken down this King a lot so that the Jarl could take him out, or just kill him outright. That's actually insane. like one Valkyrie almost out damages. Like, how many is this? Like 25 healers. They're so bad. It makes me wonder if I increase the damage that the remake healer does, will he heal more? This is an obvious medieval victory. We don't need to continue. Let's see if they can do it again. And Catapult can certainly get lucky in the beginning. Like, if it hits, like, the Berserkers and everything. They did not get, like, any of these heroes down. Now the king can just, like, waltz through them with his big old claymore. Two-shot the poor Jarl. The Jarl's already dead. Easy medieval victory. Moving on, next up is the Dynasty faction, who is still undefeated so far, almost about over halfway through the tournament. And the Farmer faction. Dragon's gonna do some work on this front line here. Which is probably why they keep winning, because the Dragon is, like, such good in these types of matchups. Like, all those Farmer frontline units are dead. And the Wheelbarrows, I think, got the Watches, which is good. Now, like, the Dynasty faction has all of these bodies left over to go fight the Scarecrows. And where did my frames go? And we have, like, 100 units on the screen. Maybe. But they've made the distance, and there's no way that the Farmer faction defeats them now. Like, one Monkey King can probably run a train on the Farmer back line. They can actually, like, rush in there and take down the Dragon quickly. They might have a really good chance. Now there's just this one wheelbarrow back here. Dynasty takes game 1. Now let's see how they do in game 2. And I do have a fun idea for afterwards. We're done here. Currently. The Dragon has burnt down all of the Farmer front line again. The Wheelbarrows have gotten down one Hwacha, just like last time. Yeah, Dynasty faction just needs to now march forward up to these guys. I don't know why it's being this laggy. Because it's not on my end. I still have 0 dropped frames on OBS. So Farmer actually won this time. I'm game. Guys, thanks for joining me for Taps Thursday, the lag edition. Like, hold on, if I just like look up or something, no, that doesn't do anything. Like, you can hear the music bugging out too. Ah, jeez. Might need a tabs restart soon. Anyway, Dragon going in on maybe that'll help. Good idea. I might just delete all my other sources except for like the 7 I use. Farmer won game 2. I don't know if that got on recording. Like me saying game 2, but they won game 2. Anyway, slow-mo might make it even easier for the Dynasty faction to just kind of roll over the farmers with the dragon. Dragon's doing a backflip now. And Dynasty won game 3. I had to go. I was messing around in OBS for like the whole time, but this is what the battlefield looks like. So let us move on. Renaissance versus Tribal, Da Vinci Tank versus Mammoth. Da Vinci Tank actually with a very sizable amount of Musketeer support. And then the Mammoths are not gonna have any support. Yeah, they're getting absolutely ripped apart at the shins. Musketeers even penetrate with the bullets, which isn't good. Yeah, unfortunately, the mammoth support of Spear Thrower gets matched up with the Balloon Archer, so that's a 3v5 because of how we're running this stuff. Obviously, Renaissance wins. Pretty small match, Pirate versus the Light. Under 30k here. Obviously, Pirate Queens are gonna be big. One cannon as a support, though. Like, one cannon and one Divine Arbiter are both pretty much gonna one-shot most things on the enemy team, respectively. Both, 2 Chronomancers, 3 Chronomancers. These Sacred Elephants do not stand a chance against the Pirate Queen Captain Harpooner combo. 4 Chronomancers have transformed. 1 Chronomancer is down. That's a good start. Still, like, a lot of Pirate Queens are up. Cannon. Okay, Cannon 2-shots them. No, Divine Arbiter definitely does, but like, they still pretty much one-shot most the other team. Are you okay? I mean, you aren't because you're dead, but like, is your corpse okay? Light faction takes game 1. We'll see if the Pirate faction can adapt and beat it in game 2. One Chronomancer, 2 Chronomancer. Oh, that's a Sacred Elephant, right? I thought they pulled in a Chronomancer before it got a chance to transform. For all 5 Chronomancers are transformed, the elephant body is blocking the cannonballs. And then the Harpooner dragged it in to... Man, chalk it up to the Harpooner to just be an absolute menace to his own team. Dude, the Harpooner brought in that Chronomancer so it could kill the cannon. Yeah, these Pirate Queens are just gonna get stun locked. They might, like, you know, absolutely demolish them if they hit, but they aren't gonna hit. So that is a light victory. Dark versus Ancient, go. Tempest Liches are gonna, like, completely demolish this front line. And my frame rate. And then it's just up to, the Ballista to, well, first they gotta deal with the Shadow Walker in the back. And then they can turn their attention to literally everything else. I mean, they do one-shot the Void Monarch before it is not transformed state. I don't actually know off the top of my head how much HP the transformed Void Monarch has. Either way, this Shadow Walker is doing great. How are there... Okay, we have 2 Ballista left. Shadow Walker did amazing for this round. And my frames are not doing amazing. Oh yeah, the Deathbringer also dodges. I mean, maybe if they still had 10 Ballista up. They didn't really dodge that, and oh my god, that's so many Dark units. Yeah, Shadow Walker needs to die way faster. It's not gonna happen. Dark's gonna take that dub 2-0. Welcome to round 8 of the Ultimate Faction War. We starting off Medieval versus Dynasty. It's honestly, I think, actually coming down to Archers versus Dragons. Even if these Squatcha killed the dragons, like they killed 2 of them, it's not gonna matter. There's 13 of them. There goes another like 4 dragons from their own Watches. Medieval's biggest hope is actually the Watch. The Watch are just killing its own dragons. Monkey King, oh, that's a clone. Now they just have a lot of bodies left. There are only 2 dragons, 1 dragon left. It's actually going to take out the top flank. It might not run through this whole flank. Okay, it did. Yeah, Medieval also got really lucky with the Watches killing, like, all of the dragons. Dynasty takes it again. This might actually be the smallest battle in the tournament so far. Light versus Spooky, and we only have 43 units on the field. We have less than that many units on some single teams. The front line is immediately down. The Chronomancers are transforming. I don't know if they can get that good chain reaction to kill all the Chronomancers. It's not too far away to get the chain reaction. Could have been possible, though. Catapult's not doing anything to Chronomancer, so let's see if they can get that Reaper chain reaction. Archer is actually, I believe, number 10 on my PRs in my tournament series. Just ahead of the King. Yeah, the chain reaction did not get there. I was always like, oh, okay, hold on. Obviously, light wins. See what I was saying last time about 43 units not being a lot? Like, look at the amount of units we have. 159. Anyway, Tribal versus Pirate, go. I've actually also, finally, after 8 rounds, moved the Spear Throwers of the Tribal faction, like, off to all the sides. So that, you know, the Mammoths don't kill every single Spear Thrower on their way to the battle. Well, the Pirate Queens will kill them. Why do I bother? Why do I bother? I should just do, like, all Spear Thrower, actually. It's, like, the only chance Tribal has. I'm pretty sure the pike has a longer range than the poacher does. I don't think they killed us. Did they? No, they killed like 4, 5. They killed a 6, 7. They killed about a third of the pirate queens. None of the cannons died. Pirate dub. Next up, Farmer versus Renaissance. Go. Crows going in. I mean, there's still 34 musketeers to deal with. Now they gotta, like, burn through all of these Da Vinci tanks. This, like, huge wall of HP that 3 Da Vinci tanks puts up. One down. They aren't getting through them fast enough. Like, all the musketeers are still left. Actually, no, we've lost, like, 4. 4 of the 34 musketeers died. It's not close at all. I didn't even see what happened in our most important match yet. 1 halfling versus 1 painter. I have elected to not show you this match, as there are 37 Tempest Liches on my screen. Actually, might as well. What's happening under that cloud? I have no clue. Void Monitor transformation, at the very least. Probably every unit under that cloud is dead. I think both Void Monarchs have transformed, so, like, now it's really on Deadeye to, you know, shoot down all these dark units. One dark one, okay, cool. Next up, and actually the last match for round 8, Ancient versus Viking. Ballistas are obviously gonna do a bit of work, but I mean, they're really just anti-Jarl. Well, Zeus is probably gonna take out all the fodder units. I mean, while I'm saying that, they've already done so. Game 2. Can we see any adaptation come from the Viking faction here? To not get just, like, completely demolished by Zeus's splash damage with their, like, low general HP. Not sure if we will. Because any of the all small units get dummied by Zeus, and then the 3 Jarls get dunked by the Ballista. 4 Jarls, but still. Like, as soon as these go down, they can sync it up. 1 Jarl down. 2, 3 Jarls completely down. This 4th one is dead once it gets off in rage. There it is. That's gonna be an Ancient victory. We're moving into round 9 of 11 in the Ultimate Faction Tournament. We're starting off with Pirate versus the Farmer Faction. I was gonna get into this until it became 12 Pirate Queens versus 25 Scarecrows as the matchup. I mean, they do have Harpooner support. Bomb Thrower. Bomb Thrower isn't gonna support anymore. Cannon is dead, so it can't support anymore. But it would have been nice to have Cannon support, because it'll one-shot Scarecrows from a distance. Scarecrow has Potion Seller support, which is not terrible. It's not as good as the Pirate faction support, evidently. Then there's like half of the Pirate things left. Yeah, they get it. Continuing on, it's just the Dragons and Hwachas versus the Ballista. Everything else is pretty much dying from the crossfire of these two. Or maybe it's just Hwacha versus Ballista. Because they've shot down like all of their dragons, and now the dragons are just like a bunch of V-shields. Zeus is done. There's no way he lasts. Then they have to move through the snake archers, real fast. They did it. They actually did do it. Let me see here if I can. I don't think I can actually change that in any meaningful way. Maybe I can. Boom, we'll move these Hwachas off to the side so that these dragons can, like, you know, do something. They still don't because they start aiming for the Minotaurs that just shoot into the middle of them. You know, this should at least be better for... I mean, it looks like it's going better. Maybe. Zeus is down. One Snake Archer remains, but, I mean, they're already being picked off by the Ballista. God, then the Snake Archer got one extra shot off. Yeah, alright. Ancient's done it. 50 versus 60 for Renaissance versus Medieval. Go. Now there's a lot of Musketeers. It's a lot of Musketeers for the Medieval faction to deal with, but they might be able to. With a lot of HP on their side, with 8 kings. Archers gotta like continuously chip away at these Da Vinci tanks because these kings are not gonna do it. Actually, what's the good of healers? Like, I don't see them ever really being useful. I don't think I've like ever used the healer in like an actual setup of mine once. Obviously, Renaissance wins. Next up is going to be the Dark versus Viking faction. Like, for once, the Ice Archers might actually kill something. I highly doubt it because they have to deal with all these Shadow Walkers in the back. But hey, there's like 15 Ice Archers. Maybe they'll freeze like a Mad Mechanic. That's so many Dark units. Oh my god. It's literally 2 Jarls against all of this. Maybe if they had like 5 Enrages, they could win. Okay. I get it. Spooky versus Tribal. AKA Reaper versus Mammoth. Then, I mean, 2 sword casters can do something, but there are like 10 spear throwers, and they're actually gonna be able to do something this time. Unless that happens. Oh my god, what is happening? You know that as soon as one Reaper dies, like literally every single Reaper in that pile dies. Okay, Spooky wins. Next up, and we're actually the last match in round 7. We're kind of flying through these. I mean, round 9. Wild West versus Light. AKA 50 Lasso versus 37 Divine Arbiter. Because that's everything. That's like where most of these budgets are coming from. Chronomancers have transformed. It does. It looks like the Wild West is gonna win. Though I did see a bunch of the Divine Arbiters like shoot themselves. So let's see if I like put it in slow motion. That'll help anything. Like, no, it's not Deadeye. The Deadeye wouldn't have killed that many of them before like the fighting really begins. They killed one. That one's bugging out with its clothes. These orbs are having a hard time getting through the elephants. That is unfortunate, and I am sorry. These poor elephants. They're just being absolutely hammered. Yeah, why? They're just attaching to themselves. They aren't opening and going forward. They're like going back and then trying to go through the Divine Arbiter. It's really weird. Well, I mean, Wild West took it both times anyway. And very convincingly, too. Round 10, we've got 2 rounds of this left. Starting off with Farmer versus Spooky. It was gonna probably play out in an interesting way until we got to 12 Reaper versus 25 Scarecrow. So many crows. That's way too many crows. They've made it. They've made the distance. That's okay. We'll give the Scarecrows an advantage. We'll move them from boom. Could start throwing crows like right away now. I think. Okay, 2 of them got killed with a pumpkin. Yeah, every faction has like their cheap melee unit, like their range unit, anti-range unit, and like a siege unit. Okay, that's good for. Can't win it if they can't win it now. Then, well, I mean, it was gonna be a 2-0 victory for Spooky anyway. I think this might be the most one-sided matchup we've seen numbers-wise. It's not fair. Despite Tribal being like up 3-1, I'm pretty sure that Wild West just gonna run away with it. Because I mean, they got a very favorable matchup with the friggin' Gunslinger. Now all the mammoths are dead, and now everything else is dead too. Yup. That's what I thought. Now we finally get to the perfect one. Light versus Dark. Here in the second to last match instead of the last one. It's just up to the Divine Arbiter. Oh, the Divine Arbiter is dead. The Chronomancer was the first to transform. The Void Monarch almost didn't transform. He needs to also take down the Tempest Lich. That can get a few good bolts in. And the Void Monarch dodge does not make things easier. Well, we switch the places of the Divine Arbiter and the... What if we just swap to the places of our 1,000 and 3,000 units? That's an issue. You gotta place these now off to the side. These do have to kind of mirror each other. Oh. Oh, red victory. Okay, white takes it in game 2. What about game 3? All the front line is dead. Radiant Glaive is down. Chronomancer has transformed. Void Monarch up. You should not be standing up against each other. Okay, Void Monarch is at half HP now. Might still have one teleport left even. He did have one teleport left. 2 teleports left even. Looks like the Void Monarch has gone down. And that leaves the Chronomancer free to take out the Tempest Lich. Good takes it 2-1. But honestly, that just depends on how you plays them. Medieval versus the Pirates. Go. One knight is in the back line, and none of these cannons can actually turn around. However, these queens now need to deal with these kings fast in order to actually get back there. They've managed to take down most of the pirates. And they've managed to take down all the pirates in game 1. Both of these outer catapults get winged by cannonballs. That's not great for the medieval team. There also isn't a knight in the back causing a ruckus this time. They did get, 3 cannons down? All the pirate queens are down. Now it's just cannons versus archers. How was it, like, this one-sided from that? Medieval takes it game, or Pirates take it game 2, and now let me move these catapults in so that they hopefully don't get, like, just winged. Okay, one of them did. The other one did, but it didn't die, and that's big. These catapults, if they actually land on a unit, can do some, like, crazy damage. 2 kings got stuck in the catapults. I'm not sure if that's good for them or bad for them. Yeah. Okay, they took a few more cannonball shots, but now back to the one-sided. Yeah. Next up is going to be the Ancient versus the Renaissance. Go. It's so Jover. They have so many units left against these 4 ballista. Viking versus Dynasty. Only 1 drag. Oh, that's unfortunate for our Dynasty team. What happened over there? How did that happen? It looks like they still have plenty of bodies left over. It's already known. I mean, monks are nothing to sneeze at. Like, monks are a good unit. Now it's just like the entire Dynasty faction raining down hell on this one Jarl. then I do not believe in the Ice Archers winning this. They don't one-shot the Firework Archers. Which makes me think I have to go update my Ice Archer to Rapid Fire. And with the Dynasty taking that, that concludes round 10 of the tournament. Getting into the last round of the tournament here, we have the Renaissance versus the Viking faction. Go. For the first time, Renaissance won't have like 50 million musketeers on their side to just gun everything down. They only have one. And then Viking only has one Berserker instead of like the many that they have. So now if these Jarls can make it to the Da Vinci tanks, the Da Vinci tanks like far back so that most of the fight would be done before they got here. I mean, if they kill the Da Vinci tanks, the Ice Archers do actually have this, as there's just not enough, there's too many of them for the Renaissance to take down if they don't have these Da Vinci tanks. But they very easily have this. That's a very easy Renaissance dub. Next up, Dark versus Dynasty. This dragon's actually going to turn around in order to get rid of these guys, the Shadow Walkers. And then it can turn back and start, you know, breathing. Or break dance and spin around and break apart. Dynasty's lost this one too. It so has. There's nothing they can do now. Dragon's down, the Watches are going down. Monkey King can't 1v1 a Void Monarch. Let's see if they get luckier this time. The dragon breaking so badly definitely meant that they just did not win. Ah, dude, the Deathbringer is fast enough, tanky enough, and has like a dash forward that's long enough that he can just ignore Fire Breath like that. He almost dies from it, but, you know. They've done it this time. If they get lucky with this dragon and the Watches, they do definitely win this. The dragon's staying facing forward this time? Didn't even attempt to turn around, but none of the fire mattered because of the lag. That's a wasted Tempest Lich volley. You need to catch these two Void Monarchs with like a full volley. I don't think they're gonna do it. Oh, dude, they're on such little HP, too. That would have been so close if they caught him with, like, just one more Hwacha arrow. But that will be a 2-1 win for the Dark faction. Pirate versus Ancient. Well, these ballistas are going to be an issue because they're like almost out of frame because that's how long of a range ballista has. They have a lot of work cut out for them. A lot of damage needs to be dealt. But I mean, if you need a lot of damage to be dealt, I think there's much better to call than the ballista. Maybe pikes, because I do think 3 pikes deal more damage than 1 ballista bolt. Ancient takes game 1. How about game 2? Because they definitely have more than enough units to, you know, make something happen with these ballista. These pirates, if these Minotaurs don't charge back to the cannons and take out, like, a lot of them, they're so screwed. Or, I mean, like, if the Minotaurs do charge back and take out a lot of the cannons, then the pirates are screwed. They get to march forward. A lot of the units just went down. Might get off one more volley. It's not enough. Now there's 5 cannons in range of the 3 ballista. So it's actually really all coming down to the Minotaur. The Minotaur can just charge back, like, enough. Start taking out some of these cannons or causing them to take out some of themselves. There's almost no cannons left on the field. They also charge back there and then pull all the units back, which makes the ballista's longest range in the game stat even more impactful in a fight like this. Dude, stop disgracing that Minotaur. Stop disgracing that Minotaur's corpse. But obviously, Agent takes this in a 2-1 victory. Next up is going to be Spooky versus Medieval, and as much as I would love to have the Pumpkin Catapult match up against the Catapult, that is just unfortunately not a reality. Because the Swordcaster is unit number 6 in the Spooky faction, so they don't get that luxury. They instead have the Medieval faction has the Catapult match up against the Swordcaster. Like, this is a lot of pumpkins to deal with. And it looks like it's gonna have to be these pumpkins to take it down. Looks like they've got it. How did that not hit the knight? They take it down game 1. How about game 2? I mean, Medieval takes it down game 1. The Medieval Catapult is down already. Unlucky bounce for the Medieval faction. All the Reapers are down. God, don't buy like half a dozen pumpkins. Game 3. Most of the archers are dead, and like a huge chunk of the priests, the healers are dead too. I think they got this. The archers don't shoot nearly fast enough to take down all these units. The Pumpkin Catapult's huge to hit that last archer. That is sad. It's gonna be a 2-1 Spooky dub. Our penultimate match. Wild West versus Farmer. Yeah, just look at the field. Lassos and Gunslingers versus Gunslingers, and some Deadeye. Harvester and Potion Seller. That's not okay. Their Farmer faction is absolutely cooked. As soon as these Potion Sellers get in enough, yeah, there it goes. Wild West wins. Alright, we're gonna try this. Our final match in the tournament is the Tribal Faction's last chance to get a victory. Unfortunately, it's against the Light Faction, but I have artificially rigged this match by putting the Chronomancers all the way back there. So it'll be whatever remains of this tribal faction after fighting the rest of the good faction against, I mean, it's still 11 Chronomancers. It's not gonna be easy. It's like they need to not kill the spear throwers. Ah, man. Yeah, there's nothing left for them anymore. All right, let's try this out. I'm pretty sure this will be like 400 spear throwers. If they can't do it with this, they can't do it with anything. I'm really stretching the limits of what my computer can hit, of what the game can simulate now, at least for me. How? How does that actually work out? 370 spear throwers versus 33 light faction units. I mean, I don't care. Light wins. They had to rig it, and they still one-handedly go. If they don't win it this time, like, there's no way they don't. Hey, you know what? While we're here doing that, I'll go over the standings. As soon as I can find them. There's actually no way they don't win this. Spear thrower on top is down. Now, predictably, because I have to do all of this, the tribal faction lost the tournament at a 0-win, 11-loss record. I don't even think they took a match against any of the other factions. Actually, they did. They have 1 point. Whoever that faction is must feel real dumb. Next up in 11th is the Farmer faction. Then the Viking faction. Both Farmer and Viking having 2-9 win-loss records. Next up in 9th, Medieval with 3-8. In 8th, Renaissance at a 6-5. Then Spooky in 7th at a 6-5 as well. Then you have a 3-way tie for 4th between Wild West, Light, and Pirate, all at a 7-4 record. And I say this because they all have one tiebreaker win. Somehow. I'm not sure how. In the 3rd place is the Ancient Factions, standing at an 8-3 record. Very impressive for one of the base game factions. And, like, not much has changed in the Ancient Faction. Just goes to show how good the Ballista is. In 2nd place, losing their lead, the Dynasty Faction at a 9-2 record, which leaves the Dark Faction in 1st place, also at a 9-2 record. Now, let me see if I can actually go through this and see. Tribal got 1 win against the Farmer faction. Okay, their 1 point comes from the Set Wars faction. Let me see who Dark lost to. They lost to Pirate? Yeah, makes sense. Dark. And they lost some light. Yeah, that one also makes sense. They could have easily done like 10 to 1. So we got 2 Chronomancers transformed out of the 11 that were placed. All they need to do is hit him. There we go. And that was still close. That was like they got rid of like they only had like a quarter of their units left. Actually, let me go through these factions. Yeah. Cheap melee, anti-ranged, ranged, and siege. Tribal faction doesn't really have siege, although Bone Mage might count as siege. Wheelbarrow is the siege. Oh yeah, I forgot. That will be the end of the Ultimate Faction War. At least the first edition of this. The second edition will either be an updated rule set or include Legacy and Secret, which I'm going to run right after this. So with that being said, after you put this on first that being said, hope you all enjoyed, and as always, have a good day.